Good evening. Welcome to the Transfer Exchange Show. I'm delighted to be joined by Mr. Steve Kay. Steve, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm fantastic, mate. Enjoying the start of the Euros. All been very exciting. Yes, mate. I'm good.
Good.
I'm good.
Good. And Lee, how's it going? You all right?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Yeah, good. After today's result, anyway, much better.
That's it. All three smiling Englishmen, so that's good.
Yeah.
Good. No, all good. Right, so we're just going to quickly run through, obviously, the games that have taken place so far in the Euros. Don't know whether to call it Euro 2020 or 2021. But anyway, obviously, it kicked off with an amazing rendition of Nessun Dorma by Andrea Bocelli. Steve, I know you particularly enjoyed that, didn't you?
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, what a start. I thought you were going to ask me to sing it then for a minute, and I got a bit worried.
Be our guest, Steve.
Yeah, I guess. But no, it was fantastic. I mean, great setting. Olympico in Rome, Italy versus Turkey. Two fantastic teams, both fancied, but one coming up on top, by quite a long way in the end. But yeah, fantastic start.
Yeah, obviously it was a 3-0 victory for Italy in the end. And Steve, were you quite disappointed with Turkey because they've got quite a few well-known names in their side, and in the nicest possible way, they got bad, really, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They didn't get started right from the beginning for me. Italy sort of started. Well, they was on the go right from minute one, passing it around, quick passing, and in the end they just had the old game. And Turkey, who I always thought were a little outside bet for me, that I thought they might do well, were really disappointing. What with Demiral, I mean, that was a bit unlucky, own goal. But they've got a good side, Italy. They've got a good side. They're strong in all areas. Got a fantastic goalkeeper. They've got a mixture of youth, and they've got a mixture of really the old heads with Cellini and Bonucci.
Yeah.
And he was up to his old tricks a few times, but I like most people know on here, Italy were my shout to win the tournament. So I was well pleased the way they started off.
Yeah, I mean, Chiellini, I can't believe he's still playing. It seems like he's been around forever. And a guy that sometimes gets a bit of stick in England, Jorginho for Chelsea. He was superb. Lee, how far do you think Italy could get in this tournament? I mean, they just seem to know how to progress, don't they?
Yeah, just looking then as well. I think they're 29 games unbeaten. I think that tells you all you need to know about them at the moment. They're a very good side, and I think with the Italians, they always turn up. They're good. They're very well drilled. They've got good players, and I actually think they could go close this year. I really do. I think they're going to be one of them sides that are going to be very tough to beat. But they're just organised. They're organised. They're hard working, and as I say, they've got good players now. They went through that little spell that I think a lot of countries go through, where you start to get them players retired, the new ones start to come through, and they look like now they've got a side there that can really cause some damage.
Yeah, and they've obviously got this young goalie, Donnarumma. He's going to be playing for probably the next 15, 20 years for them, isn't he? The keeper.
Yeah, he's very, very good keeper, young keeper, and I think he's gonna. I'd like to see him at Man United, but I think he's going to be PSG. But no, he's very good, very good, and they've got that. They've two experienced centre halves. You always got that back there that are very good, very dominant at what they do, and going forward, they've got goals in their side. And as I say, when you go 29 games unbeaten, that tells you all you need to know about them. They're going to be a very good side this year and tough to beat.
Yeah, I know Steve. I don't know if I'd call him an unsung hero, but someone that doesn't get spoken about as much is a guy at the other end of the pitch, the striker, Immobile, who popped up with a goal yesterday. I know you're a fan of him, aren't you, Steve?
I'm a massive fan of this guy. I've had many conversations with many people, and I always ask the same question, and which is I just can't work out. This guy never gets mentions to play for the top clubs. When all the windows come round, his name's never mentioned. He's someone I would definitely like at my club. He's a prolific goal scorer, easily 1 in 2 for his club, which I think is Lazio. Excellent player, and I just can't work out why he doesn't get linked with the top clubs. But saying that, they've got other players who can score goals. Up front, Insignia, the little wizard. Another good player, Barella. He's a decent player as well. But I thought. I mean, man of the match for me for Italy was the left back, Spinazzola. I mean, he was top drawer last on the opening day. Absolutely caused havoc, and I wasn't very aware with him until seeing him. But what a player!
Yeah. So cracking start Italy got off to. The game after that, the following day, was Wales Switzerland, which ended 1-1. Switzerland went a goal up, and then a guy that plays for Cardiff, Kiefer Moore, equalised. Proper, I guess, old-fashioned target man. Steve, what did you make of that game? What did you make of how Wales played? Obviously, they had Ramsey, Gareth Bale captaining the side. How do you think they played?
Yeah, I think they did all right. I think they're Wales, and they did what Wales did. I think Switzerland missed a trick from the off. I was looking forward to seeing Gorenkovic play. He's their main man. He was on the subs bench, and it proved it a little bit because when he came on, he was the one who was causing havoc. And I think if they would have played him from the start, they would have ended up going on to win the game. But Wales, good point. Switzerland, tough team. It's going to be any one out of Wales, I think, Switzerland and Turkey to go through in that group.
Yeah. Lee, Wales are going to need Gareth Bale to turn up for the next couple of games, aren't they? If they're going to progress, because he's their talisman, isn't he? And if he can, play to how we know he can play, then they'll have a chance of getting out of the group.
Listen, when you've got a world-class player like that in your side, anything can happen. And the one thing Wales do, they work extremely hard. I'm a huge fan of Aaron Ramsey. I think he's a top player. If he gets fully fit, which you're not quite sure if he really is at the moment, but if he gets ticking and Gareth Bale gets ticking, they're a threat and they'll make things happen. And as I say, if they can stay in games, the one thing Gareth Bale can do out of nothing, he can score a worldie or he can make something happen. And that's what they look like they do to me. They stay in the game. They give Bale that little free roll, go and do what you want. And he's got that in him to he's a match winner. And if they get that in one of them games, 4 points, you never know, might be enough to take them through. And the Italy game's going to be tough. But Turkey, on the back of their defeat the other day, if they can get in front there, they've got a chance. And as we know, some third place teams can get through, and don't write them off. When Gareth Bale's in your side, you can't write them off.
Yeah, that's it. I think the fact they came from behind, like you said, it shows their fight, and that could be a very important point if they do, come to get out of the group. So So the next game is the Denmark-Finland game, obviously overshadowed by Christian Eriksen, who obviously we all wish a speedy recovery. And it's great to see that. I think he's been FaceTiming his teammates. I think he might have even FaceTimed them yesterday. And the game it became, I guess, not important really in the grand scheme of things, wasn't it? Steve, did you watch the whole game? The Danish game?
No, I didn't watch. I watched all of it. I actually got a text saying what's going on with the football from my granddaughter, saying what's going on, what's happening with the football. And it was like, well, why, what's happened? And then obviously we went in and see what happened. But you said it all there. We're just happy that he's up and he's awake and he's talking freely. We just we got to give a big mention to the medics who on the pitch and Anthony Taylor did a fantastic job. God help, what would have happened, say 10 years ago. You just don't, you bear to think. But just pleased that he's up and he's fine, and hopefully he'll be back soon.
Lee, I don't know if you saw it, but I only saw it on a clip. I didn't see it on the TV. I think the Danish fans were singing Christian's first name. They shouted out Christian, and the Finland fans shouted back Eriksson, and they kept doing that back and forward. And I showed that clip to my girlfriend, who doesn't really like football, and she got goosebumps on her arm, like because of that. And sometimes football fans get a bit of stick, but moments like that, they're just it's like an amazing, obviously not a nice circumstance, but an amazing moment of how football fans can be fantastic at times.
It's my wife said it yesterday. I was actually working yesterday, and the news filtered through, and the news was that he died at that point. And
God.
She said it yesterday. She said the one thing is we're all rivals, we're all fighting, we're all wanting our own team to win. But when something like that happens, what an amazing turn that when we all just come together and support each other, and rivalries go out the window, and that happened yesterday. And I've actually watched it back. I watched it today on YouTube, and I can't tell you how emotional I felt. It was really strange feeling. It was awful seeing. It wasn't nice. And I have to go. I think the medics. Wow, I think that's 15 years ago. He probably doesn't survive that. I think with what's happened with Mwamba and people like that's probably saved his life. You look at. I had a friend of mine, Mitchell Cole, ex-professional, and he had to retire because of a heart condition. He went and played five-a-side, and unfortunately collapsed on the pitch with a heart attack and died. So it just shows you it's a real serious problem. Yeah. My only gripe is personally, I think the game should have been postponed and played today, 24 hours later. I don't think football's important enough. What them players went through. I watched today. I think was Kasper Schmeichel and the captain cuddling his girlfriend on the side of the pitch. Never seen anything like that before. She's thinking her husband's gonna pass away, and football becomes very small fry to have to go back out there and play. That doesn't warrant Denmark losing that game for me, and maybe they don't lose it if that's a normal game. So I think maybe putting that game back 24 hours, just postponing it for 24, you just want to come back. Same fans come through the door. They can't make it. They can't make it. It's football small fry. And then players went through a whole heap of emotions yesterday to then try and get yourself. I was working. This sounds really crazy. I'm working, and it stopped me in my tracks. Yeah. And you're thinking, imagine them players. They're with the guy every day, and they don't know if he's going to be okay. They don't know what's happening. So for me, game should have been stopped there and then. Replay as long as everything was okay. Replay it 24 hours later. That's my only gripe. Listen, so pleasing that he seems okay. I see the doctor said today he feels like he can carry on playing. How amazing is that? But obviously, listen, it could be the end of his career. We don't know. Yeah. But really thankfully he's okay, and as I say, the game becomes small fry after that. Yeah.
No. Well. Yeah. Well said. Well said. And it'd be great to hope he seems to be up and speaking. It'd be great to sort of hear from him. Hopefully over the next few days, that'd be superb. So as we mentioned, we're sending all our thoughts to Christian Eriksson and his family. The game after that one was, I guess, quite a one-sided game, and a team that many people have tipped to win the tournament, which is Belgium. They beat Russia 3-0 with Lukaku scoring a couple of goals. Steve, as I say, quite a one-sided game, this, wasn't it?
Yeah, they just went out there, didn't they? They did their job. Just a bit like Turkey. I thought a bit more of Russia, and I was a bit disappointed with them. Wasn't too sure what to make of Belgium this time round. They've got a few aging players there, but they made small fry of Russia, and it could have been anything. In the end, I mean, they didn't have De Bruyne on the pitch. They didn't have Hazard on the pitch, and Russia really just never got a look in, and it would probably be the easiest win, of all the games so far. And I think they might go on and do do a bit. I'm not too sure how far they'll go. I don't think they'll get finals, but they could easily possibly get to the quarters. But yeah, good win. And
Yeah.
just a bit disappointed in Russia, really.
Yeah. Lee, I guess a player that you've probably watched quite closely over the years is Lukaku, the striker. How highly do you rate him? Because when he was in England, I mean, maybe I don't know if he got the credit, I guess, that he deserves. Because he got known as like a flat track bully, didn't he? When he played for United, he just used to score against the smaller teams. But what are your overall thoughts on him as a player?
I think he's good. You know, I don't get carried away by him. I think he's good. I think for me personally, when he comes up against the real top sides, the top centre halves, he does struggle that little bit more. He isn't the most technically gifted player. He's very much pace and power and getting behind people. And you know, I think you have to have a little bit more about you when you're going to the real top. You spoke about Mobley there. He's got a bit of quality about him. You know, Harry Kane can do a bit of both. Can he get to that next level? He's a very, very good player. Will always score goals. But again, for Belgium, I think Russia is. We've just spoke about it earlier about the aging team. Italy a few years ago have now come through. Russia are going through that little spell now, I think, and that's why they're struggling a little bit. And listen, when you've got players that Belgium have got, they're always going to do okay. But when you go to that real top level, I just think he needs a little bit more. And he'll say, listen, his trophy cabinet's fantastic, a lot better than a lot of players. So, you know, it's very difficult for me to say he ain't got the best touch and technique about him. But I think you know where I'm coming from. When you go and play them real top sides, is he going to make the difference? Is he going to pull the ball out the air, beat 2 or 3 and rifle one top corner? I'm not sure. Not sure he's that kind of player. But listen, you'd rather have him in your side. But would he get in over Harry Kane at England? I don't think he would, personally. I don't think he would. No. You know, and I don't think he's playing both up there. So, yeah, good player. Will always score goals, but at the top end, not sure he's right up there for me. I think there's better out there.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Some good points. Good points. So we come on to the main event of the evening, which is obviously England 1, Croatia 0. Steve, obviously we spoke before and after the game. Fantastic result. Firstly, like 3. I think that might be the first time England have won their opening group game. So, what are your a few hours later? What are your thoughts on how they played as a team, England?
Yeah, still the same. You know, like I said in the pre-match, totally shocked by the lineup. Would never have picked that team. Couldn't work out why Trippier was at a left back. He did all right. He didn't do great. I hope he's not playing in the next game, and I hope we put a left back in. Ideally Luke Shaw. I think you know, I've said it before. Lee might be able to you know go on from this, but you know when you've got 2 top you know close to world class left backs and you're getting a right back put in your place to do the same job. I'm sure the 2 of them ain't in a very good mood at the moment. Apart from the fact they may well be, but I know I wouldn't be. I wouldn't want someone out of position playing in my position. I'd be a bit disappointed. But overall, it was what we needed. It wasn't great. It wasn't special. The players have got to do a lot better. We've got a lot better teams to come up. Sterling, he did all right. He was a bit messy, even though he was doing a lot of hard work. But second half, he did well. You know, we should go through the group, and at the end of the day, like we said, we got the 3 points. But what worries me is that Kane didn't have the greatest day. I don't know where we're going to get the goals from if Kane don't score, and that's why I feel Rashford's got to play as well every week, every game. I just feel we need another goal scorer if Kane ain't on it. We got away a bit today. Croatia ain't the best of teams, so we may have just swerved one. So, but overall, all that matters is 3 points first game, and we move on to Amden.
Yeah, Lee. Southgate's never going to please everyone with his team selection. But being a manager yourself, what did you make of the 11 that he started the game with?
I'm always I try not to be too critical of managers, especially full-time ones, because they're working with the players every day, so they see a lot more than all of us see. And you know, listen, he's got the Sterling one right because Sterling scored the winner, and I don't think you can argue with Sterling, Grealish, Rashford, Sancho. You got so many good players to pick from, and he's gone with the right one. So full credit to Southgate for that. And listen, he was, like Steve said, there are times he's messy. We know that with him, but he will run in behind. He will make things happen. And our Grealish and Foden, very, very similar in terms of not blistering pace, and they are very good technically. So, you know, as I say, he's working with them every day. I just can't get my head around the left back situation. And I thought Trippier was poor. You know, listen, people will say, yeah, I thought he done well. What? Because he passed it 6 yards every time he got it with his right foot. You know, he did. He put one ball over the top of him in the channel. But every player in the Football League can do that, and this is not me being disrespectful. I can't get my head around it. You've got a lad who's just won the Champions League who's outstanding on the night. You've got probably the best left back in the Premier League this year in Luke Shaw, and you've played a right-footed left back who hasn't used his left foot all game. I can't. I was meant to listen to an interview with Southgate to explain himself, which I'd like to hear. And again, I'm not going to be overly critical of Southgate's selection because he sees them week in, week out. Maybe doesn't fancy them too, but I see other things. I see that 3 or 4 occasions that Shaw or Chilwell would have got out of tight situations by carrying the ball. But every time, obviously, Trippier he had to come inside. Had to come inside every time, and I think we could have got further up the pitch. So I really can't get my head around that. I thought Walker was horrendous at times. Some of the passing was really poor. But again, his pace will always get him out of trouble. So I'm happy with him there. I thought the 2 centre halves done very well. It's the first time I've really watched the lad Phillips, and I have to say I think we've got a top player on our hands. You know, I actually rang my dad raving about him halfway through the game because I thought he was so good. And he said to me there, you don't play in Bielsa's side if you're not willing to do every single bit of the game, and that's work, that's play, that's foul, and look at the fouls he was doing in the game, just so good, just breaking the game up. We haven't had that for years. We're so nice. So have that. I'm really, really impressed with the lad. And do you know what? He never even come into my thought process for starting. So full credit to the manager for that. So I think he's got 2 of the 3 right. But I just I thought it was a okay performance. I thought Croatia were poor. I thought we were very comfortable. But what worries me, like Steve said there, we wasn't like fluent. We didn't create loads of chances. And I have to say, I thought Harry Kane was really far off the game today. And that does really worry me. For some reason, he wasn't at the races. He looked sluggish. He didn't look his sharp self. He dropped very deep at times to try and get on it. That did worry me a little bit. But listen, we got a big one on Friday. So maybe it just wasn't his day today, and we'll see a different Harry Kane on Friday.
Yeah. Lee, when it comes to talking about Harry Kane or talking about a striker, what in terms of, you've got 2 sides to it. You can either say he didn't get any service, which I guess which means that you're not blaming the centre forward, or you can say the centre forward had a bad game. Where do you see it? Is it as clear cut as that, or is it a bit of both? Or
I think personally, you're only as good as your service. How many crosses did we get in the box? You know, how many chances did we get to him? How many times do we get it into him and around the box for him to turn and shoot? If we're getting cross after cross after cross in the box and he's nowhere near it, listen, the one cross we got in the box, he should have scored. But for me, wasn't his fluent self. He didn't look as sharp as normal. But saying that, as again, we go back to it, revert back to it. The service wasn't great. So to keep putting it in there, if he's not in there, then you're saying, listen, he's miles off the game. But we didn't do that enough. So I think you're only as good as your service. Having said that, I thought at times he was a little bit isolated. We worked extremely hard. I think the difference with when Mount plays to Grealish in that role is Grealish will get the ball higher up the pitch at times, where Mount is very comfortable dropping a bit deeper. He will make third man runs. But I just felt that, as average as Kane was, we didn't really give him the service that he needs to score goals. And that's the only thing I'd say about that. We didn't really break them down, did we? We didn't create loads. We created a couple early doors. But after that, I just felt that the service into him wasn't great. And if we want Harry Kane to score goals, there's only one thing you do, and you put it in the box because he will score for fun.
Yeah. So Steve,
Lee, can I just ask Lee saying, so what would your team be against Scotland on Friday? Would you change it a lot? Was there people would you take out?
Listen, I think I'd want to see Maguire back in the side at some point. Having said that, I thought Mings was very good, so I'm not sure he'll change too much. The big ones over the left backs. You know, I tweeted earlier. Imagine being told you're the second and third best left backs in the Premier League behind the right back. It's unbelievable. I can't get my head around it. That's the big decision that needs to be made. I don't think we go very far. Listen, worst thing we've got is we play Portugal, Germany, or France in the next round. If we win the group, we've got big problems on our hands if we're not careful here. So we've got to get this team selection right, because there was a couple of times they got down the left-hand side of us, and I felt that was because we were lopsided in terms of a right-footed left back. That's the big decision he makes. I think he plays everyone else. I thought Foden was quiet at times. Again, he didn't have great service. So maybe do you bring Rashford in? But then we go back to the scenario. Rashford isn't as good down the right as he is down the left. So there's loads of swings and roundabouts. And I'm glad I'm not the one making the decisions, to be honest with you. I'm glad it's on Gareth Southgate's shoulders, because it's really tough decisions. You know, you've got 3 games to go, or 2 games to get it right, to get 2 wins to get through the group. So they're tough decisions. And listen, the one game I feared in this group is Friday. I really fear this game. I think it's going to be really tough. I think we're coming up against a good Scotland side. I don't care what anyone says. They're a handful now with McTominay and people like that in their side. Yeah. That's going to be a really tough game. So his selection's got to be right. And I keep going back to it. I'm not sure you get away with a right back at left back.
Yeah. My concern with the Trippier situation is it will play Trippier in these group games, and we'll get results, and the manager will think, you know what, it's working, I'm going to stick with him. Then we play against a really good side, and it'll be a totally different story when you're defending against those types of teams.
Totally agree with that. Totally agree.
Yeah. Steve, would you make any changes to the 3 in behind Kane at all? Because they're the ones I think where you can change personnel and you're not really going from a good player to a poor player. They're all top players. Would you change any of those about at all?
No, I certainly wouldn't be. I wouldn't be changing Phillips. I mean, he was that good. He could possibly have, sealed his spot for the tournament with his performance today. I really thought he was that good. He looked like he played there all his life for England. Declan Rice, I think, Jerome, you said, when we was doing the post that, Declan Rice just no one mentions him. He goes unnoticed. He's I'm using your words here, Jerome. So
that's right, yeah.
he never gets mentioned, but he allows everybody. He allows Phillips to go forward. He allows him to get more forward and do what. So I wouldn't change the 2 there. I definitely wouldn't change them. I mean, the back 4. I mean, I think he's missed a trick not taking Wan-Bissaka. I think he's missed a trick not taking Tomori. I think those 2 players are stronger than what played today, in my opinion. But as far as changing it, hopefully Maguire's fit. I would play Ben White next to him. Stones was all right today. And then put Bellingham and it's not Bellingham, sorry, Rice and Phillips in front. And I wouldn't play Man and Foden together. I thought he would play one and not the other. And, I would probably give Grealish a start. I'd play Grealish. And I know Sterling scored today, but I think if I put Grealish out on if Grealish can play on the left, and like Lee said, he can't. You should Rafford can't play down the left, didn't you, Lee?
Down the right, he struggles with. Down the left, he's better. Yeah.
Yeah. If I played Rashford down the left, then put Grealish on the right with Kane in the middle, and then maybe Mount behind with the 2 Rice and Phillips, and then the backs. I would have. He's missed a trick with these backs. I think he's got it totally wrong. The backs. It's a very difficult one. but certainly playing Luke Shaw be a definite. I'd play Ben White. I'd play hopefully Maguire if he's fit. And as a right back, I don't think Walker covered himself in glory today, and I'd even think about playing Reece James.
Yeah. Walker was uncharacteristically, I don't know if poor's the word, but he had a few moments where you don't see him sort of make those mistakes for City. And talking of City, obviously one of their you can call one of their shining lights is Phil Foden. Lee, he's obviously a quality player, Foden. What did you think about how he played today?
I thought he was okay. Yeah, I thought he done well. Fantastic shot that hit the post, and he's going to make things happen, but he needs the ball. You know, the one thing going into this Scotland game is what we have to remember. There was lots of space in behind them today, and that's maybe why he played Sterling. But I don't see him leaving Sterling out now because he scored. But Scotland are going to sit deep. You know, we'll dominate possession. We have to be very careful. I like what you said there, Steve. I've raved about the lad Wan-Bissaka. I think he's had a fantastic season. And what my biggest fear is, let's forget about, you know, Scotland and Czech Republic. I think we'll be okay. I think we'll get through the group. When you start playing better sides and good players, you need proper defenders. And I'm not sure we're really there yet. I think the signs are very good, but I do fear winning the group and who we play in the last 16 is a big concern. But listen, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. There's lots of positives today. The one thing, we didn't really have to out and out defend. We weren't really under the cosh. But what worries me the most, I always feel like England, no matter who we play, what level of team we play, we always give someone a chance. Always, even today, the ball's dropped to the lad on the edge of the box. He hits the target. It could be in. Yeah. We always seem to give a chance at somewhere, and that does worry me. But listen, as a performance, you give it probably a 7 out of 10. Got the job done. We're 1-0 up, and we're still criticising, which is positive. So I'm happy, you know. And listen, for the manager, it's a thankless task. You're never going to get it right. You're not going to please everyone. The only saving grace is I believe that he's a good manager, and the one thing he'll do is he's with them players every single day, and you have to trust that he sees what we don't see. And that's the only thing I can put. Yeah. And hopefully the mood in the camp is good because, like you said, Steve, if I was a left back and I got dropped for a right back and I'd probably been the best left back in the league that season, I would be very, very disappointed today. I'd be hurting. And have you got long enough to change people's minds? You know, we're not talking over a course of 6-8 weeks here. We got, you know, 8, 10, 12 days to put loads of sessions on where you can prove you're better. You got 4 days, 5 days now to try and get yourself in the side. That's a worry for me. And I think you hit it on the head, Jerome. I'm not sure he'll change it. I think he'll stick with it. But going against the better sides, we'll get found out that down that flank if that happens.
Yeah, in terms of keeping the actual left backs happy, I guess that's where the man management comes into play, isn't it? And you know, telling the players that, you know, about how much of a team game it is, and we're all in it together, and not to be. I guess it's hard not to be selfish when you're a player playing for your country, and you've got all your mates and all your friends and family and all that, and you want to play. So that's where I guess, Lee, you probably had experience of that yourself, like, you know, talking to players. Yeah.
Communication's key. And I think that England, you know, listen, you're only there for the next possibly 4 or 5 weeks. So I don't think anyone will be moping around. I don't think the manager will have it. I think if you're moping around, you'll be out of the squad. It's as simple as that. You can't have that in your camp. You get that in your camp, you've got problems. But I think when you go back to your room and you sit on your phone talking to your family and friends, you're going to be bitterly disappointed and very, very down, you know. But you have to put on a brave face. Look at Grealish today. At times, I felt like we could have done with him on the pitch, maybe made some little things happen, maybe created. We didn't really get many free kicks out wide to get it. He always guarantees you 5-6 free kicks a half. But, you know, listen, they'll have to put on a brave face, and I'm sure he did after the game. I'm sure Chilwell sure have. But going back to the room, I think they're going to be bitterly disappointed tonight, the 2 left backs. I really do. But again, we don't know what's gone on in training. We really don't. So we've got to be careful. We don't know if there's been a niggle, there's been an injury. We don't know. You know, we only get told what we're told to hear. So it'd be really interesting, his next selection. But for me, you've got to. I don't know if you remember as well, in the first half, the ball got played down to Trippier. He was in down the sides of him, and he checked back. And I think
Yeah.
the commentator even said it. If you had a left back there, proper out and out left back, he's in. You get a cross in the box, and there we go back to the Harry Kane scenario. Luke Shaw takes it down the line. He crosses it in the box. If Harry Kane's there, slots it in, brilliant. If he's not in the box, we're saying, well, he ain't sharp enough. So do you know what I mean? There's a catch-22 there. So you've got to get a left back in the side for me.
Yeah. It's not so bad, is it? I mean, Shaw wouldn't be so bad if Chilwell was playing in front of Shaw. Shaw wouldn't mind because he's a left back, and vice versa.
But they're both top players. One plays for Man United and one plays for Chelsea. I'm sorry, but you don't play for Thomas Tuchel's side in the Champions League final if you're a poor player, and you certainly don't play for Man United if you're a poor player. He's not a poor player. I can't get my head around it. Other than it's either two things: something's gone on, or we don't fancy him. It's as simple as that because something isn't right there.
Yeah, I think with Trippier playing left back, I think, well, just speaking from me personally, the only way I can see him playing is if you've got no other options. Then it's like, okay, he can do a job there. He's a sort of player that
100%.
Yeah,
and that's where you go back to: has something happened in training? We don't know, and you'll never know because you can't let anything out the camp. Because if anyone's struggling or not feeling well or something's happened, that starts to breed negativity. So you keep it in house. The players know what's going on. The staff know what's going on. Trippier's done a job for one game, and we all go home happy. So we just have to be careful. We don't know. But I think you've hit the nail on the head, Jerome. If we continue like that, 1,000,000%, we don't win this competition. It's a fact.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. But look, overall, you can't ask for more than a win, can you? I think when you're predicting the result, and you say what would you take before the game, 1-0. I think everyone would have taken that, wouldn't they?
Yeah,
I'll tell you what I liked as well. Sorry, Steve. I just thought we managed the game really well after 1-0. Managed it really well. That was really pleasing to see. Normally with England, there's always twists and turns. I think if you remember back when we went 1-0 up against Russia, we conceded that was last Euros. We conceded with sort of 8 minutes to go. They were never in the game. We give them a chance. We managed the game very well today. That's pleasing. And that was a good sign of us. And these substitutions were very good. I thought Bellingham coming on was decent. So signs are good. It's just that one niggling position for me.
Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, I think a lot's going to, again, like well, maybe not so much at Spurs, but a lot's going to rest on Harry Kane having a good tournament, and I can't get my head around that really because there's other players who can score goals and some haven't been taken and some hasn't got on the pitch today. Well, Rashford got on in the end, but my worry is if Harry Kane plays like the way he did today, then just forget it. I mean, because if he ain't on it, then I think we're in trouble.
That's the problem as well. You need someone in this competition. You always need that one player who's your standout, who takes the game by the scruff of the neck, is either your goal scorer or your supplier. We didn't really have that today. Foden done okay. Sterling got the goal, great, but didn't really create loads. Mount was pleasing on the eye, but didn't really create. And Harry Kane didn't really have any service. So that would be my only worry going into later on in the competition. And to be fair, I've got Holland on the TV at the moment, and they look decent. To be fair, they've had about 35 chances at the moment. It's still 0-0, but the Ukraine keeper's having a worldie.
They've got some players as well, though, Holland, haven't they?
Yeah, they have.
They've got some players.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Well, hopefully there'll be a few goals in that game. Then if they're peppering the goal.
It's been a really good. It's been a good. It's end to end, and that's I do hate that. Like I thought Croatia just set up for a 0-0 today. It does bore me. I've got to be honest. Backwards, sideways, trying to create that opportunity. It does bore me. So hopefully we'll go and play some teams who want to come at us. And I think with the guile and pace at times that we could cause teams problems.
Who's your shout, Lee? Who's your shout for the tournament?
You
hard, isn't it?
Do you know what? I've got a few. I'm going to go. Right, first things, you can't look past France. Their team on paper is sensational. You can't look past them. So forget about them. They're not in the competition, right? Because if they win it, then that's fine. Portugal, just something about that. Their team on paper is brilliant.
That's unreal, isn't it?
And if Ronaldo turns up and Fernandes turns up and and the rest of them, they've got a really good side. So don't be shocked to see someone like that. You know, I think you can never write off the Germans, obviously. I don't see Belgium doing it. And again, it always comes down to a little bit of the luck of the draw. In the last World Cup, England never going to get a better opportunity to get a World Cup final this year. Unfortunately, it looked like they're going to have a real tough one. So only, you know, being at Wembley, we've got a chance. But I think you can't look past France, can you? On paper, they are something else. So, but Portugal could be the surprise package this year. They're very, very good. And Italy, obviously, we spoke about Italy.
Yeah.
I think Tuesday night, I think is one of the big games. I think it's France Germany Tuesday.
I'm looking at that. That'd be good.
Yeah. They're 11. Germany's first 11. I mean, I know a few people have said that Germany not this year, it's not their thing. But their first 11 is something else.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
When you look at their 1-11, as you said, you can never write Germany off. You can never write Italy, Portugal, France. There's some good teams in it this year. There's some really good teams.
Yeah. There was one other game today. I don't know if
I watched about 11 minutes of it.
You know what? It was actually quite an entertaining game. Austria, Macedonia. It wasn't bad. And
I thought Austria. It was Alaba versus Macedonia, wasn't it? It was unbelievable. To be fair, he was unbelievable.
He put in a ball for their second goal.
Oh.
He played sweeper. He played sweeper for 60 minutes, didn't he? It was like, it was like Lothar Matthäus. It was unbelievable. He was different class.
Yeah. The Sabitzer played well.
Yeah.
He's a good player, and I think Arnautovic's come on, didn't he? At the end, got one.
Both teams had a go at each other. Though. That's all I like that. Like Macedonia had a right go. And to be fair, if you're watching this now, they're having a good go at each other. Both teams are having a right go as well. So if that opens up, it becomes a really entertaining Euros. It just worried me. I actually thought it was a bit boring at times. To be fair,
it was a bit. Yeah, it was a bit.
But you warrant that respect at the end of the day because you've got top world class players in your side. So teams are going to not come out at you and not leave any spaces. But at times it was very pedantic, very boring, very sideways, and that was. You want teams to come and have a right go.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just going to have a little look at a couple of comments here. Oliver, hello there, hello. Now, did you see Arnautovic's reaction after he scored? He came off the bench and he scored, and he went a bit mad.
Did he? He's mad anyway, isn't he?
Do you remember years ago, Ket Spire scored that goal for Newcastle, and he went crazy? It wasn't exactly like that, but he just wasn't happy about something. But their manager, it was 1-1. Their manager brought on 2 subs, the Austrian manager, and both the subs scored goals. Wow. So that is a decent substitution. I just got to show another comment here. My brother Craig, thought this was quite funny. 2 right backs on the pitch will be the first chapter of my new book coming out called "It's Coming Home," the Gareth Southgate story. Very good. Superb. So in the middle of this game, is it still 0-0?
Still, it's a good game. Holland. It's a very good game.
Yeah.
I'm just looking forward to start Friday against Scotland. I think we've got to be on it Friday.
Yeah.
I think it's. We should go through, but like Lee's already said, they've got some good players, and people shouldn't underrate them. It's going to be a tough game.
You know what? It's such a shame that game won't be played like neutral territory with a full stadium, all the fans in the ground, flags everywhere. It's such a shame. Like that won't be.
Is it at Hampden as well? Is it?
Yeah, I think it is at Hampden. I think so. I think it's. I'll tell you now where it is.
You know what? I can't keep up with where these games are being played. They're just being played.
I know, it's madness.
Yes, it's at Hampden. Yeah.
That's a tough game.
No. Game. No, hold on. No, it's not. It's at Wembley.
Oh, good. That's all right then. We're all right. We're going to
win. And Scotland got their other 2 games at Hampden. So
right. Yeah, obviously, because normally with a tournament, it's in one country.
I don't know about you guys. I don't like it.
No, it's weird.
I like it. I love it all at one country.
Yeah.
Listen, it's probably worked out in its favour because of the pandemic and getting people over here, but it's not got the same feel to it for me. When it's all in one nation, it's great, and I don't like it as much. I've got to be honest.
Yeah. And Wales had to go all the way to Azerbaijan to play their match.
It's not normal, is it? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
They definitely pulled the short straw with that one.
Oh yeah, God dear.
Yeah. Oh well. Anyway, look, it's been decent so far, and like we've just got started. There's so many games to come. So yeah, fingers crossed for the boys, and hopefully, Lee, like you said, there'll be some entertaining games we can watch.
Definitely.
So yeah, I think that's us for tonight. Steve, thank you very much.
Yep, pleasure, mate. Yep, enjoyed it. Been a good day.
That's it. And Lee, as well, thank you very much.
No, thanks for having me. Enjoyed it.
Superb. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for the comments, and we will catch up and speak to you guys soon. Bye.